The Black Sheep.
So this next one was posted by Synergy X_X.
Okay.
It's called My Reflection Stopped Mirroring My Actions This Morning.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so here goes. Today started out like any other Wednesday, or any other weekday really. I have a morning routine that I rarely deviate from. Hell, I have a life I rarely deviate from. Go to work, come home, watch Netflix, or the like with a rum and coke or 2 or 3, go to sleep, wake up, and do it all again. After I'd snoozed my alarm as late as I could, I finally flopped out of bed and wiped the sleep out of my eyes. I stumbled into the bathroom and started up the shower as I went pee. I let the water heat up before climbing in, allowing myself as long as possible in the hot water. I reluctantly turned the water off, stepped out onto the floor, and dried off. I then walked over to the sink to brush my teeth. That's when I first noticed it. My reflection was slower than me, not by much. I raised my arm, toothbrush in hand, and my reflection did the same, but half a beat off. Much like watching yourself in one of those surveillance videos in a convenience store. Confused, I waved my hand in front of the mirror, and again, my reflection followed, but just a tad bit slower. I thought it was just my eyes, still sleepy, I told myself. I rubbed them hard and considered testing the mirror again, but decided against it. Something felt off, enough to make my spine tingle a little. And I was just a little too creeped out to look at my reflection again. I walked away from the mirror and out of the bathroom. I got dressed and made myself some coffee, but skipped my regular toast. I just wasn't feeling hungry this morning. I couldn't stop thinking about the experience with the mirror. But as I grabbed my coffee and bag and headed to the door, I started to feel a little calmer. You're just being stupid, I thought. Clearly it was just your mind playing tricks on you. Once I was at the office, I'd almost forgotten about the whole thing. I'm a software engineer at a major tech company, and to be honest, I don't love my work like I used to. My best friend Cassie thinks it's just because I'm depressed, but I think it's because I'm not challenged anymore. Cassie, thinking of her hurts. I don't think it's right for me to call her my best friend anymore. Not that we had a falling out or anything, we're still friends. Things just aren't the same. She tried to get me help for my depression and drinking problem, neither of which I have, and when I refused, she sort of backed away. We still see each other occasionally, but it's not the same. I don't think it will ever be. Anyway, today was one of those rare days where my work was actually engaging. I only broke away to refill my coffee cup. Eventually, my bladder let me know it was time to step away for something other than caffeine. I'd completely forgotten about the events of this morning until I pushed open the door of the bathroom. A pit in my stomach developed, but I reassured myself quickly that it was simply sleepiness this morning, and I had nothing to worry about. Regardless, in spite of myself, I avoided the mirror and darted into a stall. I couldn't shake the fear as I walked up to the sink. Quit being such a fucking idiot, I thought, as I turned on the faucet.
You fucking pussy, bro.
You fucking idiot. You were just tired this morning. Still, I kept my eyes down as I washed my hands. But as I watched the suds form, I suddenly became aware of the feeling that I was being watched. I was alone in the bathroom. I knew I was. But it wasn't just that. I felt I was being watched, but from where? From in front of me. Despite every cell in my body screaming at me not to, I looked up. My reflection stared at me, as it should, but it was like it had already been looking up. I didn't see its head move up as mine did. A chill went down my spine. I moved my head side to side, keeping my eyes forward. My reflection's head did not move. Shaking, I moved my arm up. Its arm did not move up. Nope, I was noping the fuck out of that bathroom, but couldn't help myself from taking a peek back. My reflection was still there, now peering around the edge of the mirror, its eyes still on me. The recent coffee I drank was coming right back up, and I barely made it to the break room trash can. What the hell was that? Was I losing my mind? There was no way I could stay at work for the rest of the day. I told my boss I was sick and I needed to go home for the day. The vomit in the break room corroborated my story. Once I got back home, I could try and figure out what the fuck was happening. I love how many times it says fuck in here.
I know, Jesus Christ, man. It's alright. This is an explicit podcast.
Demonetized. Sick. I gathered my things and hurried out of the building. My bus stop was only 2 blocks away, but it felt like miles. I tried to avoid looking at all the reflective surfaces I was passing, but it was like my eyes had a mind of their own. I peered from the corner of them once, and only once. My reflection was walking along with me, but its whole head was facing me so unnaturally, like its neck had been snapped. My eyes quickly darted away, and my pace quickened up. I felt like all the air had been zapped out of my lungs, and I felt lightheaded from the sheer panic. Something was seriously wrong. Finally made it to the stop, and shortly after that, my bus pulled up. I bolted in and found a seat alone. I thought about calling someone, but what would I say? Who would believe me? I didn't feel like I'd lost my mind, but do crazy people know they're crazy? Maybe I should go to a hospital. Maybe I had a tumor. I absent-mindedly looked out the window, thinking about everything I'd experienced that day. My mouth instantly went dry, and my breath caught in my throat. My reflection was staring back at me, but this time it was smirking at me, like an evil grin. I was paralyzed with fear. I couldn't look away. Tears welled up in my eyes, and my reflection smiled even wider. With that, I stood up and ran to the door, getting off at the next stop. Luckily, it was only one away from mine, but I didn't care how far it was. I had to get away from that thing, whatever the hell it was. As I got closer to home, a sickening realization hit me. I have mirrors in my apartment, and windows. I needed to think. If it was real and not some hallucination, whatever that thing was had total access to me in my home. Before I had any time to plan how to handle this, however, I had reached my apartment complex. Slowly, I made my way to my apartment and realized how badly I was shaking as I attempted to put the key in the lock. I heard the click of the deadbolt and slammed the door open, jumped inside and threw the door shut with my whole body. With my back against the door and my eyes shut tight, I tried to regulate my breathing. Would it be crazy to go check the mirror again to see if this had all just been in my head? No, I couldn't muster up the courage to do that. Maybe I should call someone. Cassie? But what would she say? How could I even explain this? She'd think I was drunk, that I'd gotten worse. As I was tossing all this around my mind, I heard a noise coming from my bathroom. It was a voice. Jamie. I swear my heart stopped beating, and when it began again, it was going 1,000 miles per minute. Jamie. I shouldn't have done it, but something pulled me in like a car crash you tell yourself you're not going to look at, but crane your neck to peek at it anyway. With much trepidation, I crept to the bathroom, grabbed the door handle, and pushed the door slightly ajar. My reflection was staring at me with a wide grin, and its hand was outside the mirror. I shrieked in horror and slammed the door. I ran to my closet, grabbed the baseball bat I kept for intruders, ran back to the bathroom, and before I could even see what was happening, I smashed the ever-living shit out of the bathroom mirror. I sprinted to the bedroom and did the same thing to the one in there. I then tightly closed all the blinds so I couldn't see my reflection in anything. That's when I decided it was time to call Cassie. If I had lost my mind, I wanted it to be fixed. If I was in danger, I needed help. I found my phone and curled up in bed to call her. After dialing her number, I grew nervous she wouldn't answer. It had been a while since I'd called. Hello? Cassie, oh my god, Cassie, please, I need your help. Something seriously fucked up is going on and I don't know. Hello? Cassie, can you hear me? It's Jamie. Jamie, I think you're in a bad reception area. Try call. The call ended. I looked down at my phone. The screen was black. I saw my reflection in my phone screen, laughing at me. I tried to get the phone to light back up, but it wouldn't. Just that face, laughing, then staring, then calling my name. I grabbed the bat and smashed my phone. I laid in my bed debating what to do for a little while. That debating might have included some liquor. If I went to the cops, they'd laugh at me of the situation. After some thought, I decided I'd take the train to Cassie's place. I know I'd be showing up unannounced, which used to be okay, but felt weird now. But she'd understand once I explained, once I showed her. Then I heard a knock. Relief washed over me. Cassie must have heard the panic in my voice and come over to check on me. I rushed to the front door and started undoing the locks when the hairs on the back of my neck stood up. Pausing, I put my eye to the peephole and audibly gasped. It wasn't Cassie. It was me. Or it looked exactly like me. That thing knew I was watching it. A big smile, too big, and waved at me through the other side of the door. I didn't know what to do anymore. I didn't own any weapons beyond the baseball bat, and something told me it was no match for that thing inside my apartment. I made sure the door was locked tightly and slowly backed away. "Don't leave, Jamie," it whispered. "Not yet." I had finally lost it. "What the fuck do you want from me?" I screamed at it, begging myself to wake up from this nightmare. Everything. So now I locked myself in my closet with my laptop and my bat. In the time that it's taken me to type this up, the knocking has moved from my front door to my bedroom door to my closet door. I imagine I don't have long now, but I'll update if I manage to escape or to beat this fucker. Keep an eye on your reflection. You never know what it's doing when you're not looking. Update. Everything is okay now. No need to worry about me. I can't wait to go to work in the morning. But first, I think I'm going to go pay Cassie a visit. Smiley face.
His reflection killed him.
I got him.
And it's
Dun
him
dun
now.
dun! It's excited to go to work.
That's cool. Little creepy little story.